Right now I'm going to show you how to use Merlin and eBird together in the tropical rainforest for better birding. So a lot of times in the tropical rainforest, birds are moving in multi-species foraging flocks. So right now there's a wave of them coming through, and as much as I love a good field guide, it can take forever flipping back and forth through here. So if you're trying to keep a list and there's a diversity of birds bombarding you, then eBird is a really good option. However, if you still need to identify those birds and you're not totally sure what they are, having Merlin open at the same time is going to be super helpful. Make sure the first thing that you do is before you travel, you download the pack for the location in the rainforest you're going to. So right now I have Ecuador. I can also set it on my specific location and it will choose like a 20-kilometer square area and show me the most likely. I can also sort them by most likely family. So I just saw something that I think is a Chlorospingus, so I can type in chloro and I get all of these different Chlorospingus, 3 species that come up. I can quickly open this one. This looks right. Check the sound. It's got the song and calls on here. I can listen to them closely or use them for playback to see if there's a reaction from the bird. Then I can go back into eBird and click right there and then start typing chloro, and it was the yellow-throated one, and I saw one and done. Okay, so now that that has been added to my list, I can go back and see what other birds there are. Sometimes you might get something that's more tricky. Like for example, I saw something that I think is a type of ant bird or a tree hunter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Merlin and I'm going to search by family, and then I'm going to go down here to, let's see, I'm going to scroll down here and get into the family that I think it is in, and then I can look through by family. This is also a good way if you think you know a bird call, or at least to the type of bird or family, you can go in here and see all the wood creepers side by side, for example. So I think that this was some type of foliage gleaner, so I can go in here, look at this. It doesn't look quite right. I'm not totally sure, but let me play the sound and see if there's a response from the bird. You definitely want to be careful with playback and not overuse it. But that is how you would use it from the app. I can also check the map and see if that overlaps. Looks like it's in the right area. It's not on the west side of the Andes, which is interesting to note, but I'm somewhere right in there in Pastaza, so I don't know. Should be here. So it's an option. I'm not going to put it and register it in my eBird because I'm not totally positive. So that's the basic of how to use eBird and Merlin in the tropical rainforest. Oh, I think I hear some type of hawk. You can have this in one hand and your binoculars in the other, and it can be a really, really powerful tool for birding, is combining Merlin and eBird in that way. Merlin can also be used if you're trying to do a bird ID, but I almost never do this anymore because it can be really frustrating, but it guides you through steps. For example, here you set the date, reset to today, next. You choose the size of bird, like that robin sized. It had a lot of red and rufous and buff brown, where you saw it. And then it gives you a list of options. A lot of times this is frustrating, especially if you're in areas where not that much birding has been done. These are all the options I get. Look, it even includes red-billed parrots, but this is another option for ways to narrow it down if you don't know what that bird is. So those are some tips on how to use eBird and Merlin. One other tip that I would highly recommend is including a nature journal in your practice. Sometimes the only way to capture a mixed flock when they're going through quickly is to quickly take notes of all of them and then afterwards upload them to eBird or search for them individually in Merlin and try to identify them. Sometimes if you're trying to look up a bird while you're seeing it, you're going to be missing all of the other birds. So including a nature journal would be sort of my special tip for improving your use of eBird and Merlin in the tropical rainforest.